Good morning, everybody. It is great to be here today at the Niagara Falls Water Treatment Plant, along with close colleagues and good friends, champions for Niagara, and those who have been advocates for our community. We have the Honourable Kinga Surma, the Minister of Infrastructure, and the Honourable Trevor Jones, the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness. Thank you for joining us both here today. It's a great privilege to be joined also by Chair Jim Bradley and so many of our local mayors. We have Mayor Jim Diodati, who's not yet here, but who's hosting us today in beautiful Niagara Falls. I know we have the Mayor of Pelham, Marvin Junkin, joining us, the Mayor of Lincoln, Sandra Easton. We have the Mayor of Grimsby, Jeff Jordan, the Mayor of Thorold, Terry Ugolini. We have the Mayor of Fort Erie, Wayne Redekop. I believe we have the Mayor, also Deputy Lord Mayor of Niagara-on-the-Lake. And if I'm missing anyone else, I apologize. The Mayor of Port Colborne, Bill Steele. And I want to just acknowledge the leadership of municipal leaders, along with the hardworking frontline staff who work in this building and in so many buildings across our great region to keep the taps running and to keep the water flowing. I want to thank and acknowledge them. And I also want to acknowledge that the Niagara region is situated on treaty territory, and this land is steeped in the rich history of First Nations. And I want to acknowledge that as well, because we know how important it is, including the recognition that many First Nations, Métis and Inuit live here and work in Niagara today. And I know the regional municipality of Niagara does stand with all Indigenous people in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Now, whether it's through recent transformative investments by the province here in the Niagara region, over the last year we announced over $60 million in housing enabling water systems funding for this region, over $22 million through the Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund for the Prudham's Landing development site in the town of Lincoln, almost $4 million going into West Lincoln for expansion there in Smithville, over $20 million through the same funding stream for the city of Welland. It's a testament that Premier Ford and this government takes critical water infrastructure seriously to protect Ontario. And now, I know that most of this infrastructure is underground and unseen, and people don't always necessarily think about the necessity of water infrastructure, but there is a basic fact of life that we can't reach our provincial housing targets. We can't reach the housing targets that so many municipalities have signed on to unless water and wastewater pipes are being built. Now, Niagara has a long, rich history of water infrastructure being built here. And if you look, for example, even at the historic Welland Canal, you can see the crucial nature of water to our communities and how foundational that is to the success of this region. Today, our government, under the leadership of Premier Ford and with the great support of Ministers Surma and Jones and their leadership, is set to announce historic infrastructure funding for Niagara. This is something that's not only going to benefit local municipalities and offset local taxes for ratepayers, but it's also going to benefit farmers, grape and tender fruit growers, and rural businesses. And as in a year like today, where we're seeing the impacts of climate change, and we're also seeing this heat that's creating so much need for more water, I have the privilege now of welcoming Minister Surma to the podium to begin by telling you more about today's unprecedented funding amount for our region. Welcome, Minister Surma.
Thank you so much, Sam, for the very, very kind introduction. I was here about a month ago. I said I'd come way too often to the Niagara region, and yet here I am back again. I'm very happy to be here in Niagara with Minister Oosterhoff, Mr. Jones, and of course the Niagara Region Chair, Jim Bradley, and mayors. As we shift our focus to building a stronger Canadian economy, it's crucial that we continue to invest in infrastructure to support economic growth and keep workers on the job. Thanks to our work with partners like Niagara Region, we're delivering the most ambitious capital plan in the province's history to build Ontario like never before. With targeted investments with more than $200 billion over the next decade, we're building faster, smarter, and better, adding highways, transit, hospitals, schools, and other core infrastructure to help unlock new homes, create jobs, and protect communities. As part of our latest budget, we invested more in our infrastructure program, adding an additional $400 million for a total of nearly $2.3 billion invested over 4 years. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we are following through on this commitment by supporting 50 new water infrastructure projects in 55 municipalities across Ontario. Niagara Region is receiving approximately $53 million for 6 projects that will deliver better water, wastewater, and stormwater infrastructure. Once complete, these projects will enable the construction of approximately 14,000 new homes in Grimsby, Thorold, City of Niagara Falls, Fort Erie, Port Colborne, and Pelham. With our total investments of over $115 million to date, we're enabling up to 32,000 new homes across the region's growing communities. I would like to repeat that. That's $115 million to help the region grow. Additionally, we're investing $41 million into the region's agri-food sector to help build new irrigation pipelines. This project will help get water to hundreds of local farms and agricultural businesses that grow some of the best tender fruit, grapes, vegetables, and flowers in the world. Combined, that's about $94 million in investments to protect water systems and irrigation infrastructure in Niagara. But that's not all. Over in Leamington, we're investing $41 million to expand its wastewater infrastructure to support growth in the greenhouse sector. Through this round of funding, our government is making a combined investment of $135 million in Niagara and Leamington to help protect water systems and irrigation infrastructure, which is a first in the province's history. I'll turn things over to Minister Jones shortly to share more details on this important funding and the benefits for our farming sector. But before I go, I want to reinforce that our government is stepping up in big ways to build new capacity and to protect the hardworking people in every corner of Ontario at a time when the stakes have never been higher. We will continue to invest in the province's future by building the infrastructure needed for stronger, more resilient, and prosperous communities now and for generations to come. So thank you so much for having me here today. I will turn it over to Minister Jones, and I just want to thank the farming community and all of the workers on farms for helping feed big cities and people across Ontario. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the kind introduction and for welcoming me to join you all here today. I'm Trevor Jones, Ontario's Minister of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness. I'm so happy to be here in beautiful Niagara Falls alongside my colleagues, local and regional representatives from several communities, including my own in Leamington, and our friends from industry who grow all the good things across Ontario. We're proud to listen to and take decisive action on the ideas generated by our municipal leaders, our food producers, home builders, and by businesses big and small. By investing strategically in critical infrastructure, we can protect Ontario's food production, build more homes, and attract business investment to employ people in communities across the province. Tariffs and trade disruptions have created an environment of uncertainty that cools investment and slows progress. We felt the consequences here at home, across every sector, and our friends in the US and around the world have felt the same effects. Our farmers, food processors, and agribusinesses feed our communities, and they feed families around the world. The Ontario Grown brand is trusted and recognized globally as safe, nutritious, and delicious. 1 in 9 of us, I include myself, work in agri-food. Our food value chain generates more than $52 billion in GDP. Thank you. Our Premier and this government will remain committed to protecting Ontario's farming, processing, and food and beverage sectors. You have my word. Today, I'm particularly proud to share our government's strategic $82 million investment to strengthen two of Ontario's most sensitive and critical growing regions for food production. The municipality of Leamington will be awarded $41 million to expand wastewater infrastructure that will enhance treatment services for year-round greenhouse food production while supporting home builders and protecting a wide range of both commercial and manufacturing operations. Right here in Niagara, we're investing $41 million to support the design and construction of a new irrigation pipeline, boosting crop production in a wide range of tender fruit, grapes, vegetables, flowers, while creating new jobs and strengthening this local economy. And the applause are for you that do this work. And this builds on our previous investment of $480,000 to advance that initial design of the project, an important step toward unlocking greater productivity, growth, and resilience for both growers and all the businesses that support them. Irrigation projects protect crops during dry periods like we're in right now, and improves quality and maximizes yield. Over 2,300 farmers in Niagara contribute more than $2 billion to our economy, while farms in Essex County contribute more than $3.5 billion. So these two formidable growing regions host over 7,000 local agri-food businesses while employing 48,000 workers. Through these investments, we're advancing Ontario agriculture and protecting our ability to grow and share our high-quality, nutritious products with families in our communities and around the world. I want to sincerely thank our local representatives for your advocacy, for our farmers and community groups for your hard work, and our Premier and our colleagues, especially my friend Minister Kinga Surma, for trusting me to be your champion for these critical investments. Thank you. And I'd now like to turn things over to probably the most seasoned politician in the room, my friend Chair Bradley, to the podium. Thank you, Chair.
Well, thank you very much for that very kind and mercifully brief introduction this morning. I'm delighted to be with all of you at this very good news announcement. On behalf of Regional Council, I'd like to welcome all of our visitors to the Niagara Falls Water Treatment Plant. As we all know, the upkeep and improvement of our critical municipal infrastructure, especially our water and wastewater systems, is one of the top concerns for municipalities right across Ontario, which is why I'm very excited to have Ministers Surma and Jones, as well as Minister Usharoff here today, all of whom have strongly supported our infrastructure needs right here in Niagara. I'd also like to recognize members of Regional Council and mayors, Mayor Diodati, Mayor Ugolini, Mayor Redekop, Mayor Steele, Mayor Junkin, Mayor Jordan, and I noticed a couple of regional councillors as well, Wayne Olson, Regional Councillor from Pelham, and Councillor Woodavine from West Laken are here as well. If there are others, you can chastise me later for not mentioning your name. Working within a two-tiered municipal system requires significant level of cooperation and collaboration, especially as it relates to infrastructure. And I've greatly valued the strong partnerships that all of Niagara's 13 municipalities have shown in this regard. As we all know, water and wastewater infrastructure comprise a significant portion of municipal finances. We know this particularly at budget time. Keeping all those pipes, plants, and pumping stations running smoothly and efficiently is not easy or cheap. It's also not always top of mind for property taxpayers. Most of this critical infrastructure is underneath our feet or behind our fences. Nevertheless, regional and local councils have recognized the importance of this infrastructure, not only to public safety, but to the future of growth in our entire region. Niagara is one of the fastest growing regions in Ontario. In fact, projections have our population increasing to over 723,000 people by 2051. Those new residents and the housing they'll require depend on sound, efficient, well-maintained, and properly funded infrastructure systems. These are not simply nice-to-haves, they are need-to-haves. The equation is simple. If we do not have the infrastructure we need, we cannot build or grow as a community, and that is our goal, to grow as a community. That is why in recent years, Regional Council has made critical investments in our historically underfunded infrastructure through our budget process. But as I said, we cannot do this alone. All our municipalities depend on strong collaboration with our provincial partners. Today's announcement is a very welcome investment in Niagara's infrastructure needs and a clear signal that the provincial government also recognizes the supreme importance of infrastructure to enabling the growth that is driving economic prosperity right across Ontario. I would also like to recognize the important economic boost Minister Jones' announcement will provide, especially to Niagara's very important agricultural industry. Niagara's specialty croplands are one of only a few areas in all of Canada with climate and soil conditions suitable for high-value crops such as grapes and tender fruit. The impacts of climate change, such as drought conditions, have highlighted the need for improved irrigation infrastructure across Niagara, and especially, though not only, but especially in Lincoln, St. Catharines, and the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake. The Niagara Irrigation Initiative project and the steering committees that have been driving this project forward is an excellent example of the great things that can be achieved when multiple levels of government work together with industry partners toward a common goal. I would like to thank the committee members, many of whom are here with us today, for their work and dedication to this important project. And I very much look forward to seeing progress that this significant funding will enable. Once again, I'd like to sincerely thank Ministers Surma and Jones for their leadership in this area, Minister Ustroff for his tireless advocacy on behalf of all of us here in Niagara, and local municipal partners for their continued collaboration as Niagara continues to build and maintain the infrastructure we need to grow better together. And now I'd like to turn it back to our own minister in this area and MPP for Niagara West, Sam Ustroff, for closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Chair. And it is a good day here in the Niagara region. I also just have to acknowledge a couple folks. I do want to acknowledge the local MPP for Niagara Falls, Wayne Gates, who is here as well and who's been undergoing some of his own crop rotation, I believe, over the years, and just wanted to thank him for welcoming us. Also, the Deputy Lord Mayor of Niagara-on-the-Lake, who I will never forget bringing Minister Surma through Niagara-on-the-Lake and Lincoln on the little bus. And I think it was as hot a day as it is today when we saw some of the needs for irrigation here in the area, and I want to acknowledge his leadership on that. I just also want to thank the two ministers who came today. Projects like this, the amount of funding that pours into our region, just to put it into context. So last year, some $60 million was allocated between last year and into January through the Housing Enabling Water Systems funding. Minister Surma led the charge on doubling the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund from $200 million to $400 million for small municipalities. She's increased the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund by 20%. Minister Jones has led the charge because he sees how valuable irrigation infrastructure is. And then the Building Faster Fund, which the Premier was down recently to announce some $6.8 million. You take those together, and we have here in the Niagara region, just over the last year and a half, received over $200 million in increased water-specific funding. And I guarantee you that is the most that this region has ever received, probably going back to when we built the Welland Canal. And that's historic. Growing up, it always felt like in Niagara that the world ended at the Burlington Skyway. Like those at Queen's Park in downtown Toronto didn't realize how important this region was. And I can tell you under this Premier, with these ministers, and thanks to the advocacy of so many who are in this room and have really shared the beauty that is Niagara, but also the potential that's here, that's no longer the reality. This is a provincial government that is making record investments in our region, whether it's building 2 new hospitals, twinning the other Skyway Bridge, creating jobs, driving economic growth, attracting new investments like the Asahi Kasei plant. And today's funding, as Chair Bradley has often said, is more than just a good start. It's bold, concrete action in vulnerable border region and trade-impacted communities. Today's funding for the Niagara region confirms that our government is absolutely committed to protecting Ontario and committed to making historic investments to build our great province. And I know how transformational this is. I spoke with the mayor and the CEO of the town of Pelham, and their portion of this funding, $16 million, a little over $16 million, is the equivalent of their entire capital project budget for their entire year. So this is a real support for local ratepayers, for taxpayers, and for projects that will make Niagara stronger, better, and brighter. Thank you for coming today, and now we are pleased to take some questions from the media.
We will now begin the medium portion of the event. Please state your name, your outlet. It's one question, one follow-up. Thank you.
And if there are no questions, we can get out of this heat and back into the heat outside. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.